Hello, this is John Johnson again, and I wanted to make a few comments about research methods. The way you collect data for your project is going to depend to some extent on the project that you do. And let me give you some examples of that. For example, those of you who write business plans, you're going to be looking at market data, you're going to be looking at market analysis in your area, you're going to be looking also at competing industries. You also may want to look at census data on uscensus.gov, try to pinpoint the populations in the area that you're targeting. And that assumes, of course, that you're creating a locally based business. If you're creating an internet business, you're going to do some research also on the competition. It's important also to do some research on the industry and to understand some of the background on that industry and particularly who else is doing it and why. So the literature review tools are very relevant to business plans. I know I've had some people who wrote business plans in the past say to me, why do I need to even do literature review? And it's actually very important. As someone who started 3 businesses, I can tell you that researching the literature on the industry and on the kinds of startups that you're doing is it's actually critically important, especially if you're going to invest and start the business later on. If you're writing an article, if your project is an article that you're going to write, then your options vary on that. For a number of you, that may mean using a research instrument. So for example, if you're trying to study retention in an organization, you may want to find a research instrument that's been used before on retention. To find a research instrument, you want to go through some journal articles that have been written on that. That's one of the ways to find out. If that doesn't work for you, if you want to get in touch with me, of course I can help support you in finding that. But that would be one way to do it. Another way might be to do interviews. And remember, however, that whether you use a research instrument or interviews, any interaction you have with people for any of the projects, you need to clear that with the Olivet IRB. And the way to contact them is in the course appendices. So you want to take a look for that, and you want to get started with that, of course, early on, as which you will have already done by the time you see this video. So that's the scoop on the article writing. As far as solving an organizational problem, your research on that could vary. It's possible with some organizational problems to use pre-existing data, and that is there may be data sets already available online, or you may have enough data, static data, to study an organizational problem. So for example, if you're trying to look at the relationship between profitability and maybe the starting of a new division, you might be able to go back and review some of the numbers on that. You might also want to talk to some people, or for example, you want to know the greatest problem that delays a certain process. For example, I had a nurse once study why it took so long for people to get treatment in an emergency room. She actually did a timing. She timed how long it took from the time the ambulance stopped until the time heart patients were treated in that emergency room. And that turned out being a really interesting study. And she looked at that before and after some critical protocols for process were put in place. She was able to reduce that significantly through her project. And that's the other thing I wanted to say is it's possible to do a lot of good through a project, and you may find out ways of doing that. But with the organizational problem, you will go about collecting data in different ways. It's going to depend on your project, and I know that some of you are going to contact me about that and will have already been in contact with me before you see this video, and that's great. That's a good thing. So, and I'll be able to help you guide. I'll be able to help guide you with that. So that's kind of an overview of research methods that are available to you. And again, if you're not clear on what data to collect or how, be sure and let me know and we'll work through that together. Take care, and I look forward to helping you along the journey as you wrap up from here on to the course.